Hey everyone, the Undead Matt here. So, as November is getting kind of, closer to the end here, I know at the time of recording this it's the 12th, and by the time you're listening to this it's probably the 13th. So, but with that being said, we only have two more punk rock horror podcast episodes scheduled to come out. One punk rock half hour power episode, and even only one Paranormal Princess podcast episode scheduled to come out. So with that being said, we also do have about 1 to 2 band showcase episodes. The second one we're going to try to get out before the end of November. We're really going to try. Worst case scenario, it'll be early December and be the first time we ever kind of break the rule of not releasing anything in December. But with that being said, we'll worry about that when we cross that bridge. But the reason this intro is here is to, tell you about the Punk Rock Half Hour Power. Now, we came out with episodes before for everyone to listen to, and we wanted to come out with this one because, for two reasons. One, we've definitely been taking it, even more serious, trying to put more quality and better producing into the episodes that with, small things just like putting in background music for our scary stories. We're even just kind of making sure that we're being entertaining content for a $2 price for all y'all ghouls and gals and creeps and moons. And with that being said, I also had the opportunity to hang out with Lala and Guinni on this episode. We got to talk about holiday horror. I got to hear a creepy story from them, and we got to talk about everything horror. It was a really good episode. So it's an hour long. I know the title is usually the Punk Rock Half Hour Power, but this is like one of those rare times it is an hour long, and I think that's why we want to come out with this, is because to kind of keep you guys, sustained until next week. I don't know if sustained is the right word, but I think you are picking up what I'm laying down. With that being said, let's jump into the Punk Rock Half Hour Power, and if you like what you hear, please consider supporting us on patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast for $2 a month. You get access to the Punk Rock Half Hour Power and all previous and new episodes. Alright, ghouls and gals, let's jump into it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast Half Hour Power. I'm Lala, joined by the ever lovely and wonderful Guinni.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And tonight we have a very special guest, the king of all that is Punk Rock Horror Podcast and our lovely, amazing boss and parent of the whole show, Matt.
Thank you. I'm surprised you called me a parent.
The parent show.
The parent. Okay,
I was we fall under the umbrella. The parent show.
I have to put that on a business card.
Father Podcast. That's totally
Father
your name.
Podcast.
I'll
put that on a card. Daddy Matt or something like that.
Might get the wrong message from that.
Yeah, probably. It's probably not going to go over well at all. People are not going to want to do business with me.
Well, if they don't, we don't want to do business with them.
But no, thank you for letting me come and sit in with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I promise I'm not here to evaluate y'all. I'm just here to hang out.
Well, I was a little nervous, couldn't handle the microphone issues, but we're good.
Just, oh my god, so much pressure.
I don't know, I don't want to lose my job, guys. Write in, tell them you love me.
No, you're doing great. I was actually really looking forward to this and excited to come on. I know you had some personal stuff going on, so I was like, we'll figure it out for sure. But either way, thank you. Like, this is awesome. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm here to hang out. And I'm glad to here to finally give some perspective on differentiating opinions on horror. This is gonna be nice.
Well, normally you and I don't agree on a single thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm really excited about it, because like, although I love Cody to death and he's always gonna be like my best friend, like, it's nice to also talk to someone who doesn't agree to like further expand the conversation. It's awesome.
Although tonight we are going to agree on something.
Oh, really?
Yes, you're going to be shocked.
Yeah?
Yeah. I agree with you on Eli.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I told you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So awful.
If the ending was just a short movie in itself, it would be great.
Right.
But because it's not.
No, and it, honestly, like, I thought it was a great movie. And I think I was telling you about it later in the night, because Lauren was out of town, and the kids are upstairs, and I was downstairs. And you know that horror movies, they scared the shit out of me. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And so later in the night, like, I had to go to the bathroom, so I had to, like, get out of bed and walk down this long hall, and our room's in the basement, and I tried to get the dog to get up to go with me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go alone. So, I mean, in that aspect, like, there was some really good, like, there were some good jump scares, and there were creepy scenes, and then there were the dark scenes, you know, and there was a lot of really good stuff. But once we got to, like, that last 15, 20 minutes, I was like, wow, they ruined everything.
Yeah, it infuriated me because it just doesn't make sense. Mm-mm. Like, and I don't know if you guys have established a rule for spoilers on your show or not. But
I tend to not go into too much detail.
Okay, so I'll just keep it as vague but as clear as possible, which is an oxymoron. I'm well aware of that. But like, it just that twist is such an important element into the whole story, and they don't talk about it enough at all at the beginning, and they don't even hint at it.
Oh, I know.
And even little like Hershey kisses of like hints would have like done really well before just shoving this whole bar.
I thought they did do that though.
You did?
Yeah.
When?
I could tell. Okay, wait. This is probably gonna be a spoiler. Plug your ears.
Is it a major spoiler? There's a difference between small spoilers and major spoilers.
I could tell that's the direction the movie was gonna go from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They were in the parking lot, and they pulled out of the parking lot, and there was one of the big, like, Jesus saves, read this Bible verse poster.
Okay, I saw that.
Okay.
And then the doors.
The doors.
Yeah,
we talked about the doors.
I was like, well, that's not subtle at all. I could tell that's the direction the movie was going the whole time.
Interesting. I never picked up on the...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even though, like, when we were watching it, I was like, what's up with those doors? Are those crosses? Like, I'm pretty sure those are crosses.
Yeah.
Like, I knew, like, the symbols that were in there were obviously, like, hinting at something very sinister with, like, a cultish type of vibe. So I was just like, okay. So, I mean, I can have an idea where this is going, but because just, like, how over the top they go with it is what just really hurts it for me. Because especially, again, like, for what happens at the end should have also happened at the beginning where he, like, ripped his suit and he was starting to, like, rash out. Because I can't say it because it is a major spoiler, but there's one thing that I actually didn't bring up in my review that didn't make sense at all. That made it worse, and it had to do with holy water. I think you know what I'm talking about. So, anyways, yeah, I don't know. That was rough. Like, I'm getting really annoyed at Netflix basically coming out and saying, like, oh, this is the next scariest movie that you're going to see on Netflix.
And it could have been.
Yeah.
It really could have been.
It had a potential. Like, it stuck to its strength with its traditional jump scares. Like, it's nothing, like, shocking or new, but it's not terrible. Like, they're good jump scares. Like, my favorite one's probably the one with the girl in the hallway. That was a really good, well-done one.
I hate those, and they get me every time. And I sit here and I go, oh, just don't look. Oh, you looked. See, you had to make eye contact.
You just had to stand there and stare it down, didn't you? Yeah, no, like, and that's what I mean. Like, it like, those were really cool. And if it was two separate movies, it would be a different story. But it's it feels like it just goes into an entirely different narrative near the end, and you're just like, okay.
For sure. I think but next time what you should totally do is we should plan a night where you come here and watch scary movies with us.
Okay.
So just so you can watch Benjamin and I all watch horror movies together.
I would love to do that. Because
I think you would get, like, the biggest perspective in watching how the three of us, like, the whole time we, like, talk, we scream, we jump. Like, it is an adventure. And he just sits over there and laughs at us the whole time. He's like,
I think they're hilarious.
Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I love sitting with people who do get scared of horror movies very easily. Lauren as well gets scared of them as well. The one movie that I've had her walk out on me on was the Puppet Master Littlest Reich. But it's not because it was scary, because there's a kill in that movie that is so, like, it's just really bad. It is really...
Those
really
don't bother me. I love the kill scenes.
I don't know. Even this one kind of, like, was a little violating for me.
Okay.
It's I can tell you about it if you really want to know.
Oh, we'll watch it.
You'll know it. You'll see it. It comes out of left field, and you're just like, oh my God.
Okay.
Well, we watched the newer Evil Dead too, and that one had some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
It was overdone, but it was also Evil Dead. If it wasn't overdone, I'd be disappointed.
Like, I guess for me, like, Evil Dead, just the remade one, just made me mad.
The one with the girl, Ash? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't a girl?
Yeah,
I stopped paying attention halfway through.
Okay, so I think what made me the most upset with it is that, you know, you get Sam Raimi and you get Bruce Campbell, and you expect a Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell movie, right? And I get it. It's what they wanted. There was the vision they had all along, but they didn't have the budget. Now they had the budget and they wanted to remake it.
Right.
Like, I totally get that. But, like, all I wanted was, I hope you rot down there. And I didn't get that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't get the whole, like, hand getting lopped off. You know what I mean? Like,
it was
so
definitely more of a darker tone for sure.
Which you could have taken, and I would have been okay with it. But when you're an Evil Dead fan, you have certain aspects of that movie that you love. It's why they have the cultish following that they do.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted them to do a scary version of the elements that I liked from the original.
Yeah.
And not getting it kind of made me, mad. Like, even, like, the scene, when he goes crazy and he looks up and down at the lamp, and him and the lamp are dancing back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if they'd have done that, and they'd have said my line, and then she'd have chopped her hand off, like, all of those things, then I would have been like, yeah, okay, it was great.
Yeah, it's definitely lacking its charm, for sure. Mm-hmm. Like, I still loved it, because I thought it was a great take on it. I mean, and I kind of looked at it like, as if anyone was going to have a take on it, at least it's in, the hands of the people that started it.
Sure. And that's why I was totally out for watching it. I was like, oh, it's Raimi and Campbell, of course.
Yeah.
Of course we're going to watch it.
Well, now that Bruce Campbell is on for the next Evil Dead project, so I don't even know what they're going to do next. I mean, we've mentioned a couple times on the main show, but, like, I still really hope they continue off from Ash vs. Evil Dead, the series. Yeah. Like, a final, like, movie to wrap everything up would be really rad. That would be good. Because the way season 3 ends, like, definitely leads to, like, another season, or at least a movie. Yeah. And so, but I mean, they're one of the few horror directors and creators that I still love, because at least when they do put their hands on something, they put everything into it to make it something they enjoy.
I will say this. Bruce Campbell is a dick.
Yeah, he is.
And it made me so sad, because for so long, I've loved him. Like, he's the chin. I loved him. Yeah. That's the guy. And then we went to one of the Comic-Cons. Yeah. And he came out with, like, this thing over his face, like, was no pictures, and he was, like, charging people, and he had a laundry list of shit he wouldn't sign, and all of this stuff. Oh. And I was like, really? Because all of those people that have stood in line for hours to meet your ugly butt, you're going to be mean to right now and have this... I mean, they're the reason you're where you are. So I got mad and I did this, and I pretended I was talking on the phone, and I took pictures the whole time of him. I was like, you're not going to tell me I can't take pictures after everything. Benjamin's name was almost Ash Campbell. Yeah? Yeah. Like, that's how much... No, I get Evil Dead is loved in our house.
Well, and to an extent, like, I can understand someone charging for photographs. Like, even Stan Lee still charged when he was around for photographs. But, like, the fact that he's just, like, has a list of things he won't sign, I feel that is a little too far.
And the holding of the picture on the way out, so, like, no one could... And I think it said something on it.
It said no photos.
Yeah, it said no photos, okay. And he held it over his face. It's that whole thing with Danzig, too. Danzig does it, and it pisses me off. I have 3 Misfits tattoos. Yeah. I can tell you anything ever under the sun about him. Yeah. From the kind of kitty litter he likes. You know what I'm saying? And for you to tell me I can't take pictures of you, I do the same thing. I sit there and pretend, and I record him the whole time. I don't care.
To be fair, though, I'm not surprised that Danzig would pull that either. No.
Like, they're both equally as jerks, but neither here nor there.
I do feel like, as comparative, like, Bruce has a better relationship with his fans compared to Glenn. I mean,
for sure.
But, like, I do admit, like, Bruce does let a lot of it go to his head. I also know, like, he's kind of expressed before that he doesn't want to give up the character, but he also is getting tired of playing the character, too. Yeah. So, like, I'm just like, well, make up your mind. Yeah. At least endorse someone else to take on the role. Like.
Yeah, but would you want someone else? I wouldn't.
If they find, I would be willing to. Like, they would have to find the right person. Like, the only reason I say that is because, like, I've been reserved before when people would recast someone or to take on a role, but, like, I'll go back to, like, the Evil Dead one with the girl Ash. I kind of like how they did that because because all they had to do was just put more of the charm back in the movie, right? Yeah. And I would have still been fine with her being the new Ash because, like, the way she just finally takes over the mantle, it within that movie was so badass. The fact that, like, she's just sawing a dude in half and it's raining blood, and I'm just like, okay, come on, like, it's pretty rad.
I think I would maybe if they went in the girl direction and added the charm in,
Right.
I might be accepting.
Yeah, if they did, I know what actress I would love though for it to take over, and that'd be Samara Weaving. She's new on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
She was in Ready or Not, which we saw. She was in.
Yeah.
The Babysitter. She was in Mayhem as well. So she has very blonde hair and really big blue eyes. But anytime I've seen her in a horror movie, she's always like done her roles very well. She has jumped into them and it just goes over the top with them. And I think she could do it with like an Ash.
She can do the crazy eye pretty well.
Yeah, she's awesome. If you haven't watched Mayhem yet, I strongly recommend checking out Mayhem.
Yeah. Well, to go back to the whole Danzig Bruce Campbell analogy I seem to be making, I don't know if I could, because like once Danzig left the Misfits, I was done.
Yeah.
Like if you like the shit fits, like I don't really like can respect your opinion. I'm sorry, I just don't.
I don't know. They came on in the car this morning. You didn't change the song.
I did. And then Benny got mad at me and asked me why I changed the song, and I said it's because it was the shit fits. It wasn't the Misfits.
It's like we always say, you can like bad things, but at least admit they're bad. You know? Well, at least admit the problems with them. Like, I will stand by the fact that I love Evil Dead 2, and it's the best movie ever made.
I love it.
But I will also put out the fact there are some issues with that movie. Like, I have no problem with that.
Right.
Like, I love the first Thor movie, but it has a lot of issues. Like, I'm not going to say that it does not have any at all.
No, I agree. And for me, I even like Ragnarok. Because the over-the-top cheese ball aspect of it, I was like, oh my god, this is wonderful.
Right.
Keep giving it to me.
I don't like that.
No.
I mean, this isn't a nerd pod. Well, it is, but an Avengers podcast. But I think they were like, oh, this worked with Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's take a series that was serious
definitely.
The whole time and just replicate Guardians of the Galaxy.
Definitely.
It was terrible. I hated that movie.
I agree with that.
It was funny. It's just if it was like, it's one of those things like if it wasn't a Thor like part of the series, I'd be fine with it. But it was a very like hardcore I'm Thor series, and then they were like, well, let's make Thor like a joke now because it worked in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Okay,
I get that.
Lame. 0 thumbs up.
Canceled. Well,
you
and
could do better.
And I said that too about the shit fits. If they'd have changed their name and never did any of the old music, I love Michael Graves. I think his well, I don't like the fact that he's a right wing.
Oh, I
don't like him personally.
I didn't know he was right wing at all.
He's a Trump hugger.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It makes it so I can't like him. Like I didn't go and see him the last time he was here because of it. I'm like, at this point, like, I know people are saying, well, it's just politics. No, that's your morals.
Right.
Like, that's your
guidance. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'll say,
his
like...
voice is so good.
Well, because I'll say, like Fiend Club, like, that is a very catchy tune.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can hate it as much as you want, but it is straight up a catchy tune.
Yeah,
like,
well, his acoustic solo stuff that he did, I went and saw him before I knew all of that, and I was so moved. But so, like, you know, like you're saying, if you change it enough... Yeah. Or you go in such an opposite direction, I think you can buy into anything, no matter what the franchise is.
Yeah. So, I mean, it all comes down to, like, the 3 rules. It's, like, first one, you have to, like, get someone who, like, knows that realm, that knows what they're doing, and knows what that type of media is. And then you also have to have someone create it with that love, which is the second rule. And the third rule is, don't change the things that make it great.
Right.
Never change the things that make it great. Always keep to your strengths.
Right.
Don't fix what isn't broken.
Exactly. So you guys discussed holiday movies and horror movies.
Yes.
And when we were talking about it together, Guinevere and I were talking about it, I was saying that one could argue that most of the horror movies are kind of holiday related because, like what she and I just did, for 31 days, we watch horror movies because it's synonymous with Halloween. Like, oh, it's Halloween. We watch horror movies. Yay!
Right.
So you could almost even say, like, most of those movies would be specifically Halloween, even if they're not set in the Halloween time period.
Right.
Because people associate them so much with the Halloween season.
Right.
Like, but anyway.
Well, no, I could see that with, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, but... with a movie like The Hills Have Eyes, I would say that probably wouldn't count just because Hills Have Eyes is such a different like story. Like it is a horror movie, and it's a very in your face, abrupt, gory horror film.
Yeah, and that you watch at Halloween.
Right, but it's also one that it came out mostly in the summertime, and it's been great as a summer film as well. And so, like, we even made this point, though, I actually don't remember if we made it on the episode, but I even told Cody, I was like, technically, any Halloween movie is, like, a holiday movie itself. Because Halloween is considered a holiday.
Yeah.
And so, like, we could even look at the Halloween franchise as, like...
Yeah, that was on the list. When I had to Google holiday horror movies, because I just couldn't think of a single one, and Halloween was, like, the third one on the list.
Yeah, I mean, with that whole franchise could be considered a holiday franchise. It's like the dark version of the National Lampoon's series, I guess.
For sure, yeah.
if I was going to compare it to anything.
Well, and then Benny said, oh, let's make sure we watch, Christmas movies for the Christmas season the way we just did the Halloween ones.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, so does that mean no more horror movies? And I said, no, we can totally find Christmas horror movies to watch alongside of.
There's a lot I didn't know about.
Yeah,
like, when I Googled it, the only, like, Christmas horror movies I'd heard of was Krampus and Gremlins.
Yeah.
The only two on the, like, official list, and I don't think Gremlins is a horror movie.
Oh, I called it an Ewok. It's a gremlin. That's why it's called Gremlins.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it totally
That.
it totally is a horror film. Like we even made that point that because I didn't know this either, but Cody found out that Gremlins was the reason why was part of the reason why the PG-13 rating came to be. And actually,
I didn't know that.
fun fact: most PG-13 ratings have far more excessive violence than most rated R films.
And they mostly only got the rating because of for language.
And also, the people who actually do rate a lot of the movies, it goes to the ratings board, and the ratings board isn't actual like film critics or anything like that. They're just a bunch. Well, to put it bluntly, they're a bunch of prudes. Because any sense of like nudity that gets like an R rating at all, completely. So like you'll have like I forget. Adam Ruins Everything did a good comparison, but I think it was like Shakespeare in Love or something, where there was like a nude scene, like a nude love scene in there. Got an R rating, whereas like Die Hard or something to that effect would get a PG-13, even though it has like over the top violence.
Right.
So I guess coming back to that is just
we're angry Puritans.
Yeah, like I was just coming back to like Gremlins is like a very like over the top, in a sense, very violent film as well. But I love Gremlins. Gremlins is an adorable movie.
I haven't watched the
didn't
movie
like
since I was
it.
like 10.
You don't like which? I like the second one. I love the second one where they kind of take liberties with the Gremlins and they make different creatures. The spider one I thought was a really cool design, just because like there's a lot of awesome practical effects, and I think that's the reason why I like Gremlins is because most of their movies are solely practical effects with slight CG here and there.
Well, this would be the perfect time to lobby for a cryptids episode.
Yeah. I'm still waiting.
She wants a cryptids episode.
Just wait till after this recording. I have some news for you guys.
Oh, can't wait.
Foreboding, hinting.
But the whole Krampus thing too, I wanted to talk about was Cody said that we used to have a day, and we did, but they still on Krampus Knocked down at the Chris Kindle Mocked downtown. They have a guy who dresses up, and his costume is freaking spot on. It is so good.
Nice.
And I was we were reminiscing about the time he put the kids in the bag and everything. And,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's still family oriented, and it's definitely not sort of over the top pagan-y, like you could really get dark with it thing.
Yeah.
But they do still do it, and I think it's kind of cool because, it does allow them to sort of call attention to the lore of it all, and
Well, and I mean, Gorehounds recently actually had a guy come up and dress up as Krampus, and people can go take photos with him, like yesterday, at the time of this recording, which would be yesterday's like the 7th, I think, or something. I'm probably wrong.
I don't know.
It's Sunday. I'm not really choosing to.
It was the 9th yesterday.
It was the 9th.
So
I was way off. By 48 hours at least.
That's okay. No one's going to rewind this and go, wait a second, I did the math, that's wrong.
Wait a minute. You're not very credible.
It's a date right there.
Oh, dang, it's the 10th. So, anyway, I want to talk about that. And then, honestly, I think the only Christmas horror movie I could think of was Krampus. And like she said, she had to Google it, and I have never seen any of those other ones. So,
yeah,
I will pull those out.
Yeah.
On the 1st.
Well, if you want a good one, I do recommend A Christmas Story. I think that's what it's called.
Not that terrible one with that dumbass kid in the
No. This is a different one.
That is a horror movie.
I might be getting the tale wrong, but it's an anthology movie with a bunch of like stories that happen on Christmas.
Okay.
But it's actually fairly good. Like
good.
there's some like here and there, but for the most part, it's a pretty like good wrap up because there is a twist in it, and the twist is actually really cool. I liked the twist. I thought it fit well for its Christmassy setting. You do get to see Krampus and Santa fight it out.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's kind of awesome.
Who doesn't want to see that?
So, because I feel like I don't think it is a Christmas story. It's like a Christmas something. I'll have to find the title for it, but I'll show you. It's a really dope one. I liked it a lot. I was surprised.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, I guess you could say the whole Leprechaun franchise would be holiday related. I mean, it does have, that would be your St. Patrick's Day.
I'm straight up Arbor Day for that one.
Yeah.
Silent Night, Deadly Night.
We had to Google those. We've not watched them.
No, but we didn't talk about it here. We talked about it in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And we also mentioned
you
that.
weren't in the car, but we already talked about it.
Silent Night, Deadly Night, yeah. That's a solid one. And Black Christmas, obviously.
The Valentine's Day one, the bloody...
It was like My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, we've not seen that one either.
Yeah, the new one that got remade, like, it came out, like, and we mentioned this as well, but it came out to, like, very negative, like, reception, especially for fans. But over time, it's, like, gotten a lot more love.
Like
My Bloody Valentine?
Yeah.
Oh. It's just you listening to My Bloody Valentine in your room crying. That's the whole horror movie. Your inner demons are the really scary thing about this.
I am the monster.
The monster within is now without.
That's what it's always been.
We've never been in that spot.
No, never.
And then you just see a picture of Michael Graves. You're like, I hate you, shitspits.
You need the shitspits.
As you punch the mirror.
Yeah, I've actually yelled at you and Cody sometimes through the radio when you've talked about them. I'm like, that's not what it is!
She does it at like 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
When we're like driving to school. It's terrifying.
Okay, I will make sure to remember to call it the shitspits from now on.
The shitspits.
If we ever bring it up, I'll say, via Lala's direction, the shitspits.
Well, you know, I'm pierced. What can you do? Yeah, so we'll have to, it'll be fun. Maybe we'll do like a holiday recap or something after we've watched all of those, because I've not watched any of them. Really,
right.
So.
The Babadook? Wait, no.
Yeah?
Is that...
It's not a Christmas one.
Oh, I think maybe he just like wears a hat.
No, it's the movie. I liked the Babadook.
I did.
The ending. I see the ending where people get upset with
Why
it.
did I think that was a Christmas movie though? That's
And
what
maybe
I'm
it is
really
the hat.
upset about.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
He has like the Ebenezer Scrooge hat on.
Yeah.
It's the ghost of Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh,
He just like appears into like at the end when she's yelling
it's like
at him.
a Charles Dickens hat.
What day is it? What day is it?
Please,
I'm really tired.
Another log for the fire.
I need to go to bed.
Why aren't you normal?
America
Right.
screams.
Can't be normal.
I loved that meme where it's them in the car and it's just like the mom's just like
Bring that back.
the rest of the world. Why can't you be normal? America, the kids screaming.
Yeah, that's totally right. I was talking about Babadook the other day with Benny too, and he goes, I don't want to watch that movie. And I was like, why not? And he goes, is it Babadook? Is it Babadook? No one knows, and I'm not going to watch it because of that. And I was like, this is the stupidest rationale ever.
I think we're on to the next like version of it, the Babadook.
Where
like again coming back to the ending where she's like yelling at him,
Right.
he just appears on just
we could get like the penguin to play him, because he makes a duck sound, not a penguin sound. That always bothered me too. But
From Batman?
yeah,
Okay, mine went to Adventure Time.
Oh yeah.
See, I'm
Just
really
like,
tired. I need to go to bed.
The penguin's like rink. I think.
Gunter.
Oh yes, yeah. So we'll have to do those.
Duck noises and all. Yeah.
Right.
We're actually working on a few. So because we're working with Ether's Oath now with taking care of all of our merch, which is going great. Our other artist that did our logo for us, it took a hiatus to kind of go take care of her own mental health and stuff like that. I'm just kind of going vague over it to respect her privacy, but for the most part, she's coming back now, and she's actually going to be working on a shirt that I feel comfortable talking about on the Patreon because people are paying to listen to this. But basically, a shirt that we've been working on for a while now is Cody, because Cody hates ducks. So she's gonna make a shirt where it's Cody and a duck in a kaiju-esque setting, fighting. And we're going to try to incorporate it to where the duck is holding me, like I'm the damsel in distress in his hands. Cody's like Godzilla.
Of all the things not to like is ducks.
Well, fuck a duck.
You can, if you really want to talk to him about it, you can listen to his whole rational story behind it.
Oh, I'm sure there's something.
I gotta know.
Every time I ask him to like elaborate more, he says it's because ducks are rapists. And I'm like, because I guess when ducks actually mate, they do it forcefully. And I guess the duck's reproductive organ isn't a traditional, like what you would, I guess I don't know what you would expect a duck penis to look like, but it's a like barbed screwdriver kind of looking thing.
Yeah, I didn't know
that. This is taking it in an insane twist. Maybe she
it has a lot of twists in it too.
Oh my god.
But they're so cute.
I know, so I'm just like,
are they? Like, I'm not so sure anymore.
I mean,
I'm kind of mad at ducks now.
Now you're starting to understand what Cody is at. And now Cody's going to hear this and he's going to be like, this is what I'm talking about.
Rapers.
Which I will still resign in the argument. To be fair, they're animals and they're programmed to do that way. Whereas humans, we have a conscience and know what's right and wrong actually is.
Well, I mean, I guess that's how they procreate the species. I'm sort of with Cody, though. I know what he's talking about. now that I know. Ducking nuts.
They're on a lot of quack.
Sweet. So.
Oh, man.
What next?
Well, I mean, it's your show. We can jump into the story, or we can talk more about holiday horror. I'm just having fun hanging out and talking with you guys.
Oh, sweet. Can I talk about this?
Of course.
Because we went and got to do, with the 12 Nights of Horror, we got to do this special screening of Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that was good.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, how did that go? I know I wasn't able to go that time, and that was weird. We actually didn't get a lot of people participating in that giveaway.
Participate in the giveaways.
Well, 12 Nights of Horror is the one who usually sponsors our giveaways and will hook us up with the tickets to give away to people. And so, much love to 12 Nights of Horror. Make sure you check out 12nightsofhorror.com. But like, even they had like over 60 retweets for their giveaway, and like none of them were in Colorado.
Wow.
So like, and all the ones that we had would have been in Colorado, but like nobody wanted it, and we promoted it everywhere, and it's just like, no one wanted. I don't know. I thought about it, and I think the thing is that Dr. Sleep was meant for the Shining fans. Like, so if you were just like, oh, I thought the Shining was cool, kind of like movie, but you weren't like a big fan of it, I don't think you would have been really interested in Dr. Sleep. And so that's my reasoning, because all of our other giveaways, we've had really good participation for Ready or Not, and for It Chapter 2, we've had a lot of good participation. And so that was just weird. So yeah, I mean, how was the movie?
I wasn't disappointed, which I fully expected to be.
Yeah?
I read The Shining, Dr. Sleep like 1,000 times. I didn't have any friends in middle school. That's all I had to do.
We've all been there.
It was long. It was too long.
Yeah.
But it was good. I like the storyline a lot.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job at like not leaving any loose ends, which is probably why it was so long. But it's good, actually. I liked it a lot. It wasn't. Yeah, the ending was a little weird, but it was pretty good. Yeah, it was cool, and it was like It was really just different than any of the other Stephen King movies, which I like too.
Was it like a slog? Did it take a long time to get to its points, or?
No, not really. It got into it pretty quick.
Okay.
But I think because the book starts with this too, but it starts with like the very end of The Shining,
right.
And it did go off the Kubrick version, not the book. So it starts at the end of where The Shining Shining ends. So it did pick up pretty fast, and like there is like the overlooked demons or whatever in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Yeah, it got to it. Whatever. It was pretty exciting the whole time. Just really long.
Did you read the book?
I didn't read the book.
Okay, so then for both of you, my question is, what do you think would really put people off about it? I mean, I know you read the book.
Yeah.
The length? Okay, so for you, Lala, it's the length.
Stephen King is a really vivid writer, which I think they did a pretty good job of encapsulating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
which I was surprised, because, like, they haven't really done even Stephen King's own version of The Shining, like, it didn't capture half as much as like how vivid the writing is. So
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job of that. And I think you, like you said too, if you weren't a big fan of The Shining, then you definitely.
Yeah.
I think even Shining fans though don't know about Dr. Sleep, to be honest. I think because I've met people before that, you know, I've talked to you about The Shining and then I'll say, "Oh, have you read Dr. Sleep?" "Oh, what's that?" You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think in general, Dr. Sleep is probably fairly cultish anyways, because I don't think the masses know that there was a follow-up to The Shining.
The inverse happened to me. There was this lady sitting next to me for the first half of the movie. Oh, I wanted to punch in the face.
Oh, yeah.
But the movie starts, and the kid is riding his bike through the overlook, that one scene, and she goes,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, it's The Shining." I was like, yes, there is going to be references to The Shining in the sequel to The Shining.
Just like, this is gonna be one of those movies.
She was so stupid.
Oh god, I hate it when that happens.
So it was nice. I you know, it was a little lengthy. There was some, you know, inconsistencies, I guess, but that was, and I was telling you too, I think that they did a really good job blending the two views.
That's
two
true.
visions for the movie. I mean, I think they did a great job, you know, incorporating a lot of Stephen King sort of things that he wanted in there, and then also incorporating the, like what you said, the things that made The Shining great.
Yeah.
From Kubrick's version, they continued to keep, and I thought that that was important too. So they did a good job.
Well, and what's interesting is that Stephen King actually hated Kubrick's version of The Shining.
Oh, that's why he did the crap miniseries.
Yeah, and so that's
awful.
why I'm just like, okay, well, I think that's like the biggest thing is like no one knew how to take this movie because like even the trailers for it were extremely like vague unless you've seen The Shining at the very least, and even then, like I also kind of like wrapped it up to being like people maybe people are on a Stephen King fatigue. Because like it too like came out with lot. Not only did it like come out and do really good, but it came to with a lot of mixed reviews.
I didn't like it.
A lot. Well, that's the thing. It was a very like cut and dry. Either you loved it or you didn't like it.
I haven't seen it yet.
Type of film. And so, and I'm wondering if maybe that's what it was. People were just like, okay, I need a break from Stephen King stuff.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I still want to see it. I'm interested. I liked It Chapter 2. I love the fact that they included more of a story that time around.
That's true.
It's a rental, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I, if I had to give him my honest review, which actually I texted someone the night of who asked me how it went. It's good. Watch it. I wouldn't see it in the theaters.
Like, it's definitely not as scary as the first one. I'll fully admit that. But I think that's why I liked it, because it's the few times I'll ever make that exception for a horror movie.
It or Dr. Sleep?
It too.
Oh,
It too. That's the few times I'll ever make that exception of like them substituting less scares for more story.
Right.
Just because I know Stephen King is like, well, you said, a very vivid writer. Like, he includes a lot in his book. So the fact that they included more of the story into it, I was more okay with. So
I don't think I liked It Chapter 2 because of this podcast. I loved the first movie because I did nothing but freak out and get scared the whole time. But when I saw It Chapter 2, I was like, they could have done that better. Like, I don't understand why they had to take that particular turn.
Yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying.
I was there with, like, my two friends who were, like, loving the movie, and I was, like, overly critical.
Like, I thought you meant, like, on our main show, like, we ruined something about it, and I was like, uh-oh.
It's just, I, like, spent so much time since I started this podcast watching and reviewing horror movies. I feel like I'm so critical now that I was just like, you could have done better.
I'm finding myself to be less and less scared, for sure.
Yeah.
And that, so if a movie still scares me after all this time now, it's like, oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Activity.
It's still scary.
And that when we actually made that point too on when me and Cody guest appeared on Horror Nights In, when she was at, because we reviewed Blue October, the House October built, not Blue October, the band, that's weird.
Right.
No, the House October built 1 and 2. Because they do it in a very like found footage way, and so they're in the second one. Crystal asked us, like, could you tell if it was real or not real? And I was like, well, being a critic, like, you learn where those lines are, where it's like fake and where it's trying to be fake but real. But and so like it's a blessing and a curse. Not only is your opinion valued in high respects, but at the same time, some movies can be hard to get through because you're just like, okay. Yeah, no, it's definitely. But I will say this though too, like,
after doing 31 nights of the horror movies, there have been things that I'm like, don't do that. So I went with the Queen City Sinners to record their latest album.
Yeah.
And where we were recording, the studio itself didn't have a bathroom in it, and you had to walk across a field to like a bathroom because it's like a commune area, so the bathroom is communal.
Okay.
And you had to walk, and I told a friend of mine, I was like, I really have to go to the bathroom, but I just think I'll go ahead and hold it anyways because I'm not crossing that field.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? Why? I said, as soon as I get separated from the group, I'm gonna be the first one murdered. And he was like, what? And I was like, it's the rules, bro. Like, that's what happens. Like, I'm gonna go, hey guys, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You guys stay here. I'm gonna go get murdered. Like, that's what happens.
That same thing happened. That same thing happened to me similar, but happened this past year. I was up at a retreat for the union I worked for, and I was hanging out with one of my union workers, and so we were smoking weed. And as I was walking back, to my hotel room, I didn't know how to get there. It was in Breckenridge. I never go to Breckenridge, so navigating any of it is new to me. So even the hotel up there, I only knew how to get back to my room via the parking garage. So I had to walk all the way through the parking garage to get back up. And keep in mind, I'm high, so I'm just like, I'm not gonna try to figure this out.
Weed equals murder.
Yeah, so it was really funny. As I was walking down first on the sidewalk, there was this there's this woman who was shorter than me and scrawnier than me, and she was like, I didn't realize it at first, but she was getting kind of in a defensive stance, which I get it. I'm just some random dude who happens to be walking the same way, and it was funny enough because I thought she was actually gonna mug me. And then it gets even funnier. As I get into the garage, I notice it's way more quiet than it should be, and I was like, I've seen this before, and so I call Lauren, and I'm just like, I need you to stay on the phone with me, and she's like, why? And I was like, because I'm in a parking lot alone. I'm in the parking garage, and I'm high right now, and I've seen this horror movie, and the only way people don't get murdered in parking garages is when they're talking on the phone to someone, so I'm talking on the phone with you right now. And understandably, Lauren started laughing her ass off at me.
Oh, for sure. Well, they gave me heck, too. One of them was like, well, do you want me to go with you? And I was like, no, that's creepy. And he's like, well, I'll just stand outside. And I was like, okay, but then you're going to get murdered first.
Hey, you're falling into the path. You gotta break the path in order to not get murdered.
Right. Well, Scream is very good for pointing out these are the rules. You gotta know the rules.
Yeah.
And if you don't know these rules, well, you're going to get murdered.
So I know that feeling.
Yeah.
I've been there.
So, watching them still sort of messes with my head a little bit too,
Well, I applaud you. I applaud you for watching more horror movies, because I remember when you jumped on, you're like, I don't watch that many. Yeah. And I'm just like, you're going to have to start watching more.
Oh, God. I have Shudder now.
Yeah.
Remember?
I know.
So now, and then I'm on there and I'm like, I'm just not sure that this selection is up to my standards. Or Netflix. I'm like, Netflix has got shit horror movies on it. And why do I know that now? Oh, the podcast. Yes, of course.
Yeah. If you haven't checked it yet, I recommend watching Boar and the Ranger on Shudder. Boar is literally Lake Placid, but in Australia.
Okay.
But it's awesome.
I think I started watching The Ranger at one point because we were trying to figure out movies that had punks in them.
Yeah, I didn't know The Ranger had any sort of punk setting at it at all, and I was like, oh, no way. That's dope. Did you finish it yet?
Oh, no, I have it on my list of shows ones that I need to watch.
You're gonna like it. It was a good one. I was pleasantly surprised by that one. And Boar is an awesome ride. It's an awesome gory creature feature ride all the way through, because it's about a giant boar killing people in the Australian outback. And it actually stars Bill Moseley, which for a lot of people, they don't know who that is. That he is the one that's always in 3 from Hell and Devil's Rejects.
Which we just watched. I think I'm the only one in this house that likes Rob Zombie movies. Yep. Yeah. And I just watched 31, and it was so good. Really? I loved it. No one else loved it.
I got bored halfway through, and I took a shower and went to bed.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a rough time getting through 31 too, as well. I don't know why. Because the opening monologue is really good.
I liked that.
It was really good, but I don't know what it is about the rest of the film. I don't know if it is that I'm on a Rob Zombie fatigue, or I think the biggest thing for me is that I just saw too many same themes from The Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, he has a formula for sure. It's very formulaic.
Right. And I get that. Like, going back to what I said about, like, no need to fix what isn't broken. Like, when you're Rob Zombie and you're making, like, I'll take the Halloween movies. So he did a really good job of kind of breaking his own formula for the Halloween films.
Which, honestly, I haven't seen his version of it.
They're
I've seen his other stuff, but I've not seen that one.
They're ones that are heavily argued being good. I liked them. I thought they were a good take on the character. I understand why some people didn't like it, but I still enjoyed it for what it is.
Interesting.
But 31, I felt like it was going way too back to House of a Thousand Corpses, and I was like, I would love for you to do something that wasn't in your formula, your wheelhouse.
And I think his entire formula is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's what I was going to say. It's like Saw and
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre's annoying baby.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's no disrespect to the guy. Like, he knows what he's doing, and he knows what his fans will like. And I guess if you're going to make a movie, you want to please your fans, because you know who's going to go see them. But at the same time, I'm also just like, if you have the chance, take some liberties, take some creative freedom with it,
Yeah.
Because Salem, I actually like Salem a lot. Like, I know that one gets a lot of flack too, but that was one where he didn't really stick with his formula. And I liked the fact that he didn't.
Right.
Like,
right.
I thought it was a refreshing, take. So.
Well, horror world, cover your ears. You're not going to like this next sentence. I hate Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, I do
Which
too.
one?
All of them.
All of them? Okay.
I hate them all. I think they're horrible movies. I think they're loud. I think they're manic. I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
I cannot stand them.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. It was boring.
And then, I'm angry. I'm going to carve little tiny red X's on your big truck when I'm trying to kill you with my chainsaw.
Yeah.
So it's just like all those sort of stupid little things. But I hate the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise. Which is why I didn't see the
most recent one?
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
I will admit, that is the worst one out of the whole saga.
Oh, I hate
because they basically try to make Leatherface an anti-hero.
Oh,
and I'm
course.
like, and that's how you ruin a character. I see what you're talking about, though. And also, like, what's weird about it is that the Texas Chainsaw series is always is seen as, like, a very gory series. But as a matter of fact, a lot of the goriest stuff is off-screen. You don't see it at all.
Oh, right.
I would say, though, only for argument's sake, the first one is a moniker in horror because back then, seeing someone go at a truck with a chainsaw would be terrifying. Because you got to think...
Okay, but go back and watch that scene. They're little, tiny.
I know. Like, in today's day and age where we're more detached with, like, things with, like, Feast, where, like, people are getting, like, cut in half and, like, acids dissolving faces.
Right.
And then you go back and watch Texas Chainsaw in 1971, and you're just like... Oh, this is a pretty nice stroll through a park.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's, like, not an important horror movie.
Yeah.
But
the way it holds up is definitely for horror buffs, for sure. Like, anyone else, though, like, I guarantee will just... It's just what you're saying. It will come off as boring. And I will admit, I've gotten bored in it before.
And it's just so loud. It's loud for loud's sake. But what I was going to try and do was tie the two in together. Ironically... Rob Zombie's formula is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
I hate those movies, but he somehow has an ability to extrapolate some of the stuff that is good from the Saw. From the Saw series and turn it into his. And I feel like he's taken that formula, made it his, owned it, and has done a better job of it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's what I mean. Like, respect to him. Like, he knows what he's working with. I'm just saying, like, at some point, like, you can tell when his formula is getting a little stale, and he needs to do something new with it. So, like, things like Salem or the Halloween series, I think, are in the right direction. And just like any other creative process, he just needs to work out the rough edges with it, pure and simple, you know?
I think with him, too, he has such a big following. He could put out anything. He's still going to make money off of it.
I'd probably still watch it.
Oh, I guarantee.
I'd be like, okay.
I know. It's never going to happen. But if, like, White Zombie did ever get back together, I guarantee, like, that would sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, but they got to bring Sean back.
Yeah, that's why I'm just like...
I don't want some random bass player. I want Sean back.
That's why I'm just like, I guarantee it's never going to happen. But if it did, like, that'd be one of the, like, hidden hits that I could see, like, kind of taking over the music world for like a hot year.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2019 though. Everyone's getting back together.
Yeah,
Yep.
Mike Hem,
The
Rage
Jonas
Against.
Brothers.
Yeah, everybody.
Like,
We're all getting back together.
whatever about the Jonas Brothers though.
Although Joe Jonas was the first person to reveal the fact that My Chemical Romance was getting back together. Because the Jonas Brothers reunion was practicing in the same studio that My Chemical Romance was.
Yeah, and Mike Hem got pissed at them.
I would have too. Even though I felt it in my heart, like their whole big like Instagram, Facebook return, I was like, oh, it's
Yeah,
happening.
right. It's different when it's coming from the band itself.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Which still makes me say there could potentially be a Minor Threat reunion because they're doing all the same things
Yeah.
that MCR did. Like, they just sent the picture back out where they were all sitting on the porch, the iconic picture back together, where they were all on the porch. And it was like, oh, not a reunion. We just all happened to be at the house at the same
Right.
time. No,
Right.
no. That does not just happen.
Right, and like
You know
how
what I
Mike
mean?
Hem
Like,
would still
yeah.
have barbecues once
Yeah.
a month and whatnot.
Yeah,
well, two of them were brothers. Like,
Yeah,
Well, I
so
mean,
it's kind
yeah.
of impossible.
well, same with Minor Threat. Two of them,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
so
like Thanksgiving is kind of a reunion for them.
But I'm just saying, like, since everybody's getting back together,
yeah.
like System of
you
a
guys
Down,
have a
too.
month and a
Oh
half
no,
to make
System
it.
of a Down that's not going to happen. Surge has like really been vocal about not doing anything.
Oh,
new
maybe I
System.
just read something
I
on
thought
Facebook.
they just said they were.
Oh, the whole band wants to.
Oh.
Surge is the only one being a butthead
That's-
the entire time.
Honestly,
well,
really
I mean,
rude.
honestly, he really is the band. Like, I hate it's his voice.
Yeah, and I
like
get
anybody can play guitar. but-
right, but like that's my thing. I was just like, if the whole band's on board, like, and I get like Surge does just mostly want to compose music.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I can understand with, like, the legacy that they've already left behind, like, how, like,
Mm-hmm.
fast they took over the world.
I'm with Guinni though. I swear to you, I just saw something.
I mean, I
that
hope you're
said-
right. I really
yeah,
do.
I do too.
I would rather be wrong and you be right in this instance. Because that would be awesome to hear our system is actually planning to come back. Like, and if they, like, I know they did some, I feel like they did do some tours recently,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if that was just a fever dream or not. So, but I mean,
Well.
but yeah, I mean, every time that they've tried to get back in the studio and talk about getting in the studio, like they even got to a point where they were about to literally go back in, and Surge is just like, yeah, all this talk of a new album isn't happening,
Oh, that's sad.
and it's just like really, it's almost as the same way as like Maynard was with Tool with their new album, where he's just like, no.
Oh, Tool too, I guess. Although I
Yeah, they just had their big show, which. Sorry, 40-year-old dads. Tool sucks.
I'm not a big fan of Tool either.
no.
I mean, I can respect them. They're talented musicians. They know what they're doing, and I see where they get all their praise.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been my shtick. I've just never gotten into them. The only song I've ever gotten, I don't even remember any. So yeah. Oh, they are doing a concert. That's
Hey,
rad.
Here?
It looks like it.
Oh.
Sweet.
Resurrection Fest.
So I don't
so
know.
maybe that's the way they're gonna wine and dine Surge in order to get him to make an album.
I mean, there's a couple different dates on here. I mean, obviously, here's, a bunch in Germany and whatever, and Italy and here, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're together. I think they're touring.
I really hope
everybody-
it's just a really smart publicity kind of thing.
Right.
And they're just like, no, we're not going to do it. Wink.
Wink, yeah. Which, all back to what I was saying. Please, Minor Threat, please, please,
Right.
please.
Oh, if Minor
You're
Threat
teasing it.
got back together, I think I'd lose my mind.
Me too.
Right. I think a lot of people would, understandably so, too. Like,
I'd go straight edge for you.
like, even, what's funny enough, he's even Goldfinger's coming back on tour.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm just
saw
like,
that.
and I'm like, all right.
See,
Yeah.
it's 2019. It's just all coming back.
Everybody get back together. Do your stuff.
the signifier has been lit.
Right. All right, so we should probably do our story,
Oh, yeah.
which you told me the other day, because I kept saying, the first couple of stories we did had, like, real people's names, like Betty Smith and John,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
And then the last couple of stories we've been doing, they've had, like, super bizarre name, like White Ray of Light or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know until you told me that was because that's their handle or their username on Creepypasta, which I didn't know. But so now I know, and I don't have to make fun of the names anymore. Like, okay, White Ray of Light, thanks for the story.
No, it's cool. It threw me off at first, too, because I was like, where are they reading?
We didn't know
I
either.
swear the names are on there. Why would it not be on there?
We couldn't figure out what we were reading either. We were like, what the heck is this?
And I was just like, oh, it's because they're really obscure names.
Yeah.
I get it now. That makes sense. I understand why the confusion's there now.
Right.
That makes sense.
So, tonight, we are reading...
Grab a pillow.
Oh, get comfy, y'all. Get cozy. Get your cobija and your hot cocoa out. I'm going to read.
The cocoa.
And it's a holiday story, too.
Ooh.
Tonight's story is called Christmas, and it's by Cafe Legendary.
I hope this one's about Hanukkah.
It better be.
If it's not, we riot.
There isn't any Kwanzaa ones. I'm kind of depressed there isn't any Kwanzaa horror films.
I think that we have a hole to fill. Like, why aren't we making a punk rock horror podcast?
We're going to make a Kwanzaa horror film. That's not going to raise any red flags at all.
Oh my god. Well, somebody who knows a lot about it should help us. Come help us, please. All right, here we go. I could never sleep well in hotels. I guess that's somewhat of an understatement. I could never sleep well in general, but hotels were the worst. Just the thought of the previous occupant in this bed as a complete stranger was repulsive in my mind, but that's beside the point. What I'm getting at is how the lack of sleep in hotels has changed my life. Christmas. We were spending Christmas in a shitty hotel and not with family. Great. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't enjoy it all. Can eat breakfast buffet, hash browns and grits for Christmas Eve dinner. Of course, the first snow of the season had to cancel our flight down to Virginia. It was Christmas Eve, and I was trying to sleep in this bleach-saturated room, my mind wandering, what happened in here to cause such an excessive amount of bleach needed? The room was nothing out of the ordinary, 2 beds, one for my dad and I, and the other for my sister and mom. A bathroom and a stained microwave that looked like it was in need of a good dusting. Somehow I escaped the room and the stench of bleach into a dreamless sleep. Waking up, I could tell that it was early morning, and my dad was next to me snoring. He usually wakes up before 4 a.m. That's when it hit me. It's Christmas, and I was about to let this bad fortune ruin my favorite holiday. Looking across the bed at the clock to check the time is when I noticed it. The silhouette of a man, about 6'3", across the room staring at my mom sleep. Still, half asleep and caught up in the moment, I couldn't help but think, maybe it's Santa Claus. I realized how stupid the thought was, and the horror soon filled my head. I choked back a shriek. I knew I couldn't let him see me awake, so I quietly put my head back down, pretending to sleep. My mind was racing. Someone was in my room, and I couldn't do anything. I'm a scrawny 16-year-old, and this man looked like he was built like an ox. I wondered if I could wake up my dad in time, but I knew that wouldn't work. He slept like a rock. A bucket of water couldn't get him up fast enough. I was practically in tears. I never felt so helpless. For a second time, I choked back a scream. He was standing next to me, and I could feel and hear his repulsive breath in my face. It smelled like he had been eating rotten meat for a week now, with no thought to brush his teeth. If he didn't know I was awake, surely he did now. Seeing my face was contorted in fear. The breathing stopped, and I couldn't help but sigh a relief. I would have kicked myself, but there was no need. I heard the room door open and close. I launched out of bed. Nothing was in the room, nothing was disarrayed, and my family was still asleep. That couldn't have been a dream. I couldn't have imagined it. Feeling awake as ever, a horrible idea popped into my head, and before I could push it away, I was pulling the door open. Glancing back at the door in order to memorize the room number, I saw a giant spray paint X on the back of the door. I had seen it without prior experience. I probably would have thought it was just some stupid kids. I knew better, but not enough to know what it was for. My heart skipped a beat. There he was, turning the corner at the end of the hall. Why am I doing this? I tailed him down to the parking lot. He was nowhere in sight. One moment he's walking out the lobby, and the next he's gone. Realizing how cold it was outside, and I was in paper-thin pajamas, I returned to the lobby. No one was around. Strange. I could swear there's usually a night concierge. Adrenaline wearing off, I realized how stupid and rash my actions had been. He could have killed me. I cursed myself back up the stairs. I knew something was wrong when I got to my floor. The door to my room was wide open. Hadn't I left it that way? Right? I walked inside, and after a quick search for the room, I determined it was safe and my family was still asleep. I locked the door and got back in bed, though I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I listened to my dad get up, and eventually my mom followed, but I pretended to still sleep. A few hours passed, and my parents got my sister and I up. We got in the car and made our way back to the airport. Digging through my bag to grab my iPod led to finding something that hadn't been in there the previous day. A note that simply held 5 words. I still think about this day. It said, I knew you were awake. It's now been 2 months since the hotel experience. I'm still scared for my life, and it gets worse every day. The note I found wasn't the only one. I still receive them. The end.
Dang.
I don't want that note.
I would have still screamed.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah, I would have too.
If I'm going down, I'm going out screaming and kicking and
Yeah,
everything.
I'm scared of hotels anyways. I've stayed in many sketchy hotels. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
know
a
it's
reason
bad.
I make Lauren sleep by the door.
Yeah, we stayed in one time where you could only get the Wi-Fi to work in front of the mirror.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It was freaky.
And I shit you not, there was a metal swing set in the back.
Yeah.
And when you opened up the curtain, the swing was like this.
It was so like the shower made weird noises when
Like,
you
it looks like
turned it
just
on.
somebody just got off the swing or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
And nobody clearly had just gotten off the swings. There was nobody back there playing.
There wasn't even anybody in this town. It was
No.
like a population of like 3.
It was awful.
Yeah.
We didn't sleep for shit that night. It was the worst hotel. We've stayed in some sketchy hotels.
The only one I've been to was up in, like, I think it was Genesee recently.
Ooh,
That was-
Genesee's kind of freaky anyway.
Yeah, and it was the same situation. It was a small area, barely anyone around, and just like right outside where we were sleeping, which is like a vast like parking lot where it was very easy for anyone to peek in.
Of course.
Because of where the light was positioned, put such a glare on that you wouldn't notice right away.
Oh.
And I was just like, we're just gonna leave the blinds closed for the
Yeah,
night.
we're good. If that story really was written by a 16-year-old, I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah,
good.
there's a lot of great young writers out there, and I think places like Creepypasta are a great place for them to expand their creativity. And I will always implore kids and teenagers and adults who want to jump into any type of creativity, especially if it's horror, to really do it. I mean, I'll go on Reddit and I'll find scary stories, and some of them are really, really good. And some of them are good, but definitely lacking. But there's a good supportive like community on there of like people giving constructive criticism of like what you could do to make your stories better. And I love seeing that. I just love seeing that much support. So it's awesome.
I totally agree. I mean, if anybody wants to start writing, they should, and that's a great format for them to be able to do that.
Well, and I get it. Like like I remember what that was like. So I tried writing scary stories when I was that age, and it was extremely nerve wracking having anybody read it. And so the fact that you put it on the internet, like, for just a assortment of strangers to read, like, just bravo. Like, I think that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, but what did you guys think of the story?
I'm just, it pointing out all of the things that everybody hates anyways. Like, no one likes sleeping in a hotel. I've never, gotten up and been like, wow, that was the best night's sleep I've ever had. No, that's not true. One time at a Marriott.
Yeah.
They had the most amazing freaking beds and pillows. And that was, like, the only time. And it was a great big giant one, so I never, had that sort of... But let's face it, we're all, none of us are sultans here. We're all used to sleeping in some sort of sketch hotels. And so I think he just sort of brought a lot of that to light,
Well, and I guess Marriott is probably the better ones that you could stay at.
Yeah.
I would say, I do feel like Motel 6 gets a lot of bad rep, because I feel like Days Inn is the worst one.
Well, we always stay... We even go one further. We stay at the Nights Inn.
Oh, okay.
With the K&I.
I would still do that over Days Inn, so...
Well, I think they're owned by the same people.
Oh, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, equally as bad. It's all bad.
At that point, I'm just yelling at myself in the mirror.
Right.
Trying to get the Wi-Fi to work.
Yeah.
Which
Other dimensional beings need internet access to.
Right. I'm convinced there were people behind the mirror watching us try to get Wi-Fi through the mirror.
Oh, that would just give me paranoia.
I was just trying to look at memes and.
Just want my damn memes and don't look at me through the mirror, you creepy people.
Try to look at memes. Stop being weird.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad.
A good time.
I definitely want to come on more in the future for sure. This is dope.
Yeah, definitely. It was fun. And I mean, how could you not laugh with this Goomba and all the stuff she says?
And truly, from the bottom of my heart, and I know Cody agrees with me too, even though he couldn't be here, you two have done an amazing job taking over the punk rock half hour power. You came in at a point where we didn't know if we were even going to continue it anymore, and you guys have definitely taken it, made it your own thing, and we love that. We love that you love doing this, because we didn't even know like if anybody that we brought on would actually want to stick with it. And the fact that both of you are just like, yeah, we love doing this, we want to keep doing it, just means so much to us. So you guys are doing awesome. We love hearing you talk, and thank you.
Yeah, for sure. No, thank you for letting us continue to do it. We enjoy it. We always have a good time laughing and talking about things.
You can hear it every time. More people need to hear how much fun you guys have on this. Seriously. So I think we are definitely going to throw this out for everyone to hear as well.
Awesome.
It'll be exclusively available on the Patreon first.
Right.
But it will eventually come out everywhere.
Awesome.
So.
Well, thank you everybody in podcast land for joining us as always, and we will be back. Wait, we're taking a break for Christmas?
We're slated for one more half-hour power episode, because I can talk about what our next subject's going to be.
Okay.
So because I heard what you were talking about with cryptid, I actually talked with Cody about doing more cryptid stuff as well. So what we're going to do is actually talk about cryptid-esque urban horror legends that's centered around the holidays.
Holidays I don't know about, but
so like stuff like Krampus and that kind of cryptid type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And your not Ewoks, Gremlins.
Yes. So yeah, it's definitely going to be more of a challenging subject for sure, because we're gonna have to find those type of horror monsters that come out and kill people.
Well, I'm sure the creepy cryptid freak over here.
They're fun.
I have faith in you. If anyone can find cool stuff, I guarantee it's Guinni.
Yeah,
they're not actually cryptids. No one just likes them.
maybe they misunderstood.
Maybe they wouldn't hide if you would just be their friends.
Maybe if you would just be nice to them.
Yeah.
Great. Now I'm never gonna go in her room because she's got a shit ton of cryptids living in there. I'll be like, ah!
Yeah, Bigfoot actually lives in my closet.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt.
Krampus just comes out. You know, I actually do like kids.
Yeah.
It's just my job. Okay.
I was misconstrued the first time, and I couldn't change the vibe after that.
I just wanted to take him back to my lair and play.
I don't actually kill them. Like, I put them in classes and teach them how to be polite. I don't know why everyone thinks I kill kids. That's how the line of Krampus
continues. I train them to be the next Krampus.
Yeah.
I give them a good life.
This is a hard job. There's far more bad kids than there are good kids. You'd be surprised.
It's like the Brave Pirate Roberts or whatever from a...
Oh, yeah?
The Gremlins were fine before they weren't. I mean...
Right. Totally.
Everyone has that story.
Oh my gosh, you're such a Goomba. So one more. Cool. All right, we'll be back in a week and a half or 2 weeks. Thank you.
Bye.